I want to talk a little bit about how listing new items for your eBay store can have an effect on your sales overall, and then want to get into all the details on 17 items that sold this past weekend on eBay. But before we get into that, if it's your first time here, my name is Brian and I'm a reseller. I go to thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, and Facebook Marketplace, and I find items to flip on eBay for a profit most of the time. So it was a really interesting weekend. I spent the last week just going kind of hard listing and listed 109, I don't remember if I landed 109, 110 items that I listed this past week. And the results showed up for sure throughout the week and throughout this weekend. So out of the 17 items that sold this past weekend, 9 of the 17 items were items that I listed this past week. So over half the items were brand new listings, which really, helped get things going. Sales for the store were up 58% over the weekend. The weekend for me is Friday, typically around, say, 9 a.m. sales. Anything that comes in before 9 a.m., whenever I'm coming in to ship, I'll usually ship on Friday. But then I had 2 items last Friday I shipped that sold on Friday, and I shipped them on Friday morning. And then everything else after that, I included my weekend sales. So I had 17 items ship over the weekend. It was like $497 in net item revenue. That's not counting shipping revenue, which I made money on shipping as well. But so all revenue included, it was over $500 for the weekend, which was a pretty good weekend for me. I know there are people who do way more than that, but for me, it was a pretty good weekend. It was interesting. I had 5 more, so 5 sales come in, 2 early, and then 5 more on Friday, so 7 total on Friday. So there's 5. And then on Saturday, it was just like, it seemed like one after the other, ended up with 9 sales coming in on Saturday. And then Sunday was very quiet until about 4 p.m. And then I sold a couple of, interestingly enough, tools, a couple of tool items. And then at about 1:30 this morning, I just lumped it in with the weekend, a pair of jeans. So that's all 17 items that sold. But yeah, I really saw the impact overall throughout the week as I was listing items, and this weekend it was just very apparent that putting more items into my store equals more sales, which is not something it doesn't surprise me, and it's something I believe in. Is the more you have listed, the more you sell. And I should qualify that statement saying you can't list a bunch of stuff people don't want to buy. There's no amount of items you can list that people don't want, and promoting items people don't want and expect your sales to go through the roof. It's just not going to happen. So you still have to be intentional about the extra stuff that you're listing. Make sure you're listing the right items, the right brands, putting in the right prices, the right, promotions if you're promoting your items, that kind of stuff. All that plays into growing your sales. So we're going to get right into the 17 items that I sold over the weekend. I'm just going to go in the order that I sold them, and we'll just get going. So sold a decent amount of clothing this weekend. I think there's about 7 items or so. First item, I'm not going to take these out of the bags because I have them sealed. So this is a Buffalo Bills. This is a women's t-shirt. It's a really cool piece. I picked up at a thrift store for $1. They had marked it down a few times, so I think I got it for like 95 cents. And so had it listed a little bit higher for a while, but I don't know. I think I sent an offer. I did. I sent an offer out because I've had it for a few months, and ended up selling it for $7.62 plus shipping. And I'll make some money on the shipping on this as well because it's really small. So I'll probably make an extra, at least $1 on the shipping on that one. The next one is another clothing item. Are these Arborware. They're like a really tough pant, almost like a canvas denim. But I picked these up at Goodwill for $7.92 and sold them for, I sold these on an offer for $24.56 plus shipping. Good chance I'll make some money on the shipping on these as well. Arborware is a brand specifically made for arborists, so people who are working on trees, that sort of thing. It's got pockets designed for specific types of tools that they would have. But it was an odd size too. I think these were like 32 by 34s, pretty long leg. But yeah, took me, I think these have been listed for 13 days, so not too long. But yeah, glad to get those going out of the store. Next item that sold, this was pretty cool. And if I hadn't been paying attention, I probably still would have comped them, but I knew what these were right away when I saw it. So these hats I saw at Goodwill. Maruchi is a baseball brand. It's a higher end baseball brand. And it says World Series. What's nice is it's not tied to a specific year. So, you know, it just says World Series on it. But cool, cool pieces. Brand new hat. So as the sticker and everything, there was 3 of them. I paid $3.99 a piece, $4.30 with tax on these guys. And I did see somebody else selling them and had sales on them. So I think he was selling them for $30. I priced on the 89s, so I priced mine for $29.89 plus shipping. And I sold one. I've had them listed for about a month. So I guess, I don't know if he ran out or somebody just found my listing. I don't know. I do have them promoted, so... but yeah, sold one $4.30 into $29.89 plus shipping. That was a pretty good sale right there. That one made the top 3 because of the profit on that sale. So top 3 sales for the weekend. All right, next up is this vintage cassette case. It's just has the cool little clasp here. Little velvet plastic with like little velvet stuff on it. Here, no, this one's doesn't have the velvet. It's just plastic, but little vinyl cassette case. I picked up at, I believe, an estate sale for $5 and sold it for $5.50 and sold it for $10.50 plus shipping. I took an offer on that one. Somebody sent me an offer, and I was like, you know, I've had this specific one for probably about, I don't know, about 3 months or so for some reason. Usually those sell pretty good. I don't know why that one, maybe my description was a little wonky. I don't know, but they sent an offer and I just took it, and I'm still going to make money, and not as much as I'd like, but I'm still make some money and go on about my business. Get that out of the store. Next item I was super excited about. Whenever I found this, I was at a local thrift shop that's only open like a few days, a couple days a week, and they do stuff for charity. And they have a bunch of just, it's even a little bit more random than a regular thrift store, if that makes any sense. But I saw this box, and I bet a bunch of people passed it over because it was marked $40. This Canon PowerShot, this is an ELPH camera. And I opened it up, and it has like all the accessories, has extra memory cards, the charger, has an extra brand new battery. It's got a bunch of stuff with it. The camera's pretty scratched up itself, so I did take a lot of pictures of it, and I also marketed it with pictures with the camera, like looking at other stuff, right? So you could see on the digital screen what it was showing, displaying, and the settings and all that. But when I looked at this, I was like, $40, dang. And I was like, well, I should look it up. And there was 93 available and like 593 sold. I was like, even if this is like 70 or $75, I'm going to pick it up because it's going to sell so fast. To my surprise, they were selling anywhere from like really like $75, depending if it was just the camera itself, up to, you know, a couple $100, depending on the condition and accessories and stuff like that. This one, because it had the extra memory cards, had the extra brand new battery, I priced mine at $149.89, and I got it. So it only, I think this one sold in a couple of days, but yeah, picked it up for $40 and sold it for $149.89 plus shipping. Interesting side story about it. Whenever so there was 2 ladies sitting in chairs just at the front of the thrift store, and they just talk to everybody as they walk in and hang out, and they literally write their tickets up on a little carbon copy like ticket pad, and no tax or anything. And whenever she told me my total, I was like, that doesn't sound right. I said, can I see that? I said, did you write the camera down as $4? And she looked at it and she goes, yeah. And I said, it's $40. And she picked it up the box. She goes, oh my gosh, I'm like, we're not used to selling $40 things. It just like, I totally thought that said $4. She goes, I'm so glad you were honest about that. So I almost bought this for $4, but there's no way I could do that. That would have been criminal. So anyhow, that was pretty funny. All right. And that was the best sale of the week, profit-wise, too. That was a good one. Next one is this little Doberman alarm kit with warning stickers inside. This is just a very simple, like, door and window alarm kit. Not a huge mover. I picked it up at a garage sale for $2, and I saw that some were selling, not a high sell-through rate, and I was like, it's $2. I'll just throw it in my inventory. Probably wouldn't do that again, but sold it for $11.16 on an offer. I sent that offer out. I was sending aggressive offers on this because I wanted to get it out of the store. I think I've had it for maybe 6 or 8 months now. So it's been sitting too long. Next item are some Ariat. These are the FR jeans, the fire resistant jeans I picked up at Goodwill for $10.10. The style on these doesn't sell quite as fast, and for just a slight bit less money than some of the others because it's the M5. It is a slim leg, and a lot of folks who are wearing the fire resistant jeans are looking for the regular or like standard leg or straight leg, looking for the straight leg, not the slim leg. But those are slim leg. I still picked them up because I knew they'd sell. I picked them up for $10.10, and I sold them for $30 plus shipping. Someone did send me an offer on those, and I countered at $30, and they took it. So, pretty good sale. The Ariat FR series, if you can buy them for around $10, I mean, personally, I'm going to buy every pair I find. Not every pair. I found a pair the other day. I got so excited, and then I noticed, and the crotch was all torn out. I mean, it was torn out. And I was like, why are these even on the rack for sale? I guess somebody could patch them. I guess I could do that. But, yeah, they're in pretty rough shape. All right. Next up. This was a fun one. I talked about this on a short video a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was a long video. Might have been a long video on Fridays. But these are used blank cassette tapes. If that makes sense. So they were blank tapes, and they got recorded on over a period of time. So they have music or whatever on them, but they can be recorded over. And there's not new blank tapes. So I picked up a cassette case that had, I think I've got 3 lots of 40 and some extras. It had like 130 blank cassette tapes, used blank cassette tapes. So I lotted them up in lots of 40 for $19.89 plus shipping. Excuse me, which seemed to be the rate people were selling them at. Some people sold just a few for $7, $8. Some people were selling like 80 to 100 at a time. I did 40 because I figured out that 40 fit in this box right here, and I could put a little bubble wrap on there and a shipping label and then send it out the door. And I saw lots of 40 that had been sold. So I was like, that's perfect. I just wanted to fit in that box. So I've got $1 into those 40 tapes, and I sold them for $19.89 plus shipping. Next item, I probably wouldn't buy again, but I thought it was cool. I didn't comp it. I was like, I'll either keep it or I'll sell it. Is this little blue ashtray. It does glow really cool under like a UV light, but picked it up at Goodwill for $1.18, and I sold it for $19.89 plus shipping. Once I got it pictured and I looked up the comps, there were sales on it. So there was quite a few of these that had sold. So I felt a little bit better. I think I sold it. That was one of the items I sold the same week I listed it. So that one sold within a week. So it's pretty good. Next item is a piece of clothing. It's this Polo Ralph Lauren Hawaiian print shirt. This is a short sleeve, really cool shirt. It was hard for me not to keep that one because it's my size, but I don't need more shirts right now, so I'm good. And there's some decent value in it, so I picked it up for $7.33 at Goodwill and sold it for $29.66 plus shipping on an offer. And I expect to make a little money on the shipping on that as well. But that was an offer I sent out. When I sent it, I thought I'll probably get a buyer, because whenever it sent, there was like 6 interested buyers. And sure enough, that was in an evening. The next morning, boom, that was Friday evening, and it sold on Saturday morning. Next up is a VCR. So I have a whole stack of VCRs down here on the floor as well that I finally last week, as part of my binge session of getting stuff listed, I tested all the VCRs that I've been saving up because I wanted to do that in a batch. And I've got 5 of them listed now. I've got 2 more that are DVD VCR combos I need to mess around with and just make sure everything works. But this is a symphonic VCR. It's a very small, compact, lightweight piece. So I picked this up for that one's $7.38. So I picked that one up at a Goodwill for $7.38. And you know what? I got to take that back. $8.38. I need to adjust my cost. So $8.38 because I bought a set of cables to go with it. There's a local thrift store that has a whole cable wall, and I picked up a bunch of those AV cable sets. They sell all their cables for $1 a piece. So I picked those up, and I've got them included with every one of my VCRs. So it's $8.38 into $24.89 plus shipping. So that one, the profit margin is not as good. The other ones that I've got listed down here are all Panasonic Blue Lines. So I've got them at $50 a pop, and I've got the same cost or less. A couple of them I got $5 in. But yeah, glad to see that one go out the door. Next item I bought at Goodwill. I've had this for a handful of months. I knew it would sell eventually, but because it doesn't have the lid, some people already have lids and don't care. But Masters of the Universe HeMan Thermos from 1983. Man, this is back when I was watching HeMan. watching HeMan, so, and Skeletor and all those guys. But I picked this up for $3.30 at Goodwill and sold it for $11.89 plus shipping. Before I do the next one, I get a lot of questions about my shipping. Like, how do I know? On clothing, I do flat rate shipping. So I look at the item and I price it either $5.99, $6.99, $7.99, $9.99, or $12.99. So those are the ones I have set is in my shipping policies. Most t-shirts or like short sleeve polos I do for $5.99, and then like jeans I do for $9.99. If they're heavier, like these Ariats, I'll have to look. I don't know if I did $9.99 or $12.99. Some of the bulkier jeans I'll do $12.99. I know for these ones we'll get to, I did $12.99. But yeah, so I do flat rate shipping there on items like this. I look at how much they weigh. I know about what size box, and I say, I know how much this weighs. This is, in my hand, I'm telling you this weighs about 6 to 8 ounces. And then with a box and some shipping, I'm in it for £1. So I probably marked it 2 pounds just to be safe. But I do calculated shipping on everything else. So anything that's not a piece of clothing, I'm doing calculated shipping. Most of it, I've done this long enough and sold enough items. I'm pretty good at guessing my weights. I'm very accurate with that and knowing what size box and everything like that. And if I question it all, I err on the high side a little bit so that I'm got myself covered. And yeah, that's how I do my shipping. But buyer pays for all shipping, even newer items now. I used to do free shipping on newer items. I haven't done that either. Like on that hat, I charged, I think, $7.99 shipping. So I'm not doing free shipping on anything. All right, back to sales. Another clothing item I picked up at Goodwill. It's a brand new pair of Cremu shorts. These are a slim fit short. Not as popular. The only reason I picked these up is because they are brand new with tags. So I've got $5.75 into them, and I was able to sell them for $22.89 plus shipping. That's another item that I sold the same week I listed it. That VCR, same week. The cassette tape, same week. The fire-resistant jeans, same week I listed them, and the camera. So 9 of the 17 items all sold the same week. All right, next up is this cool little keychain. I've had this one for probably about 8 months. I got it in a big lot of stuff, a big shoebox of stuff I picked up at an estate sale. I've made a ton of money off that shoebox. I mean, a ton. This it's in the box here, but it's an old Texaco keychain. It's one of those twist keychains. It's brass, but it's been it's a really cool piece. But it's been very well used, so the finish is worn off, even though it is brass in a number of places, which I called out in the description and the pictures. And so this is by Solid Brass Specialties, is the maker of that keychain. Really cool little keychain. Picked it up for 55 cents is the cost I've got assigned to it. I don't even think really it's 55 cents. It's probably more like 10 cents, but I put 55 cents on it, and I sold it for $6.48 plus shipping. All right. Next up are these snap-on screwdrivers. So I got a little too excited whenever I found these. I couldn't really comp them. I couldn't find this exact set of 3. It's like a couple of them are in the same SSD. So these 2 are in the same number, like model number class. This one's a little bit different, but they're all flathead. And so the guy, whenever I was looking at them, he goes, I'm just going to tell you those are $30 and they're not negotiable. And I was looking at all the other stuff, so I heavily negotiated on the other stuff that I bought, and to kind of justify it in my mind. But looking back on everything, I still assigned a cost of $30 to those just to be as fair as possible. And that's too much to pay for those. So I really should have paid like probably 15 to 18. 15 really is what I should have paid for them. I was willing to pay like 20. When he said 30, it kind of shocked me a little bit, but completely honest, I've never bought anything. I think I bought one little bitty screwdriver one time for $1 or something. And but other than that, I have not bought any snap-on tools. I haven't found them at garage sales. So it's just not something I've come across. And I got a little too excited, like, oh, I want to buy some snap-on tools. I want to resell some snap-on tools. And after looking at it, I think I priced them at like $45 or $49, but it was too much. And so somebody sent me an offer for, I think, like 32, and I just said, I'll take 39 bottom dollar, because I looked at it and I was like, it was a bad buy. I just want to get at least my money back and get out of it and get reinvested as fast as possible. Felt like 39 would do it. I sent the counter offer and he bought them. So $30 cost, 39 plus shipping on the sale. I've got my money back. I'm going to go buy more stuff that I can actually make some serious profit on. But it was fun selling some snap-on screwdrivers. Next item is this Workshop toolkit. This is not like any, it's called Workshops is the brand. It's just kind of a generic, probably from the 60s or 70s toolkit with a bunch of sockets, socket wrench, nut driver, all the stuff, spark plug sockets. It's all made in Taiwan stuff, which is fine. There's a lot of that from that era. Made in Taiwan, socket kits with all sorts of brands, but I've had this for a long, long time. I picked it up for $5 off Facebook Marketplace back when I lived in Illinois. That's how long I've had it. But it wasn't listed. I had it unlisted for a couple years, actually. Relisted it about, 4 months ago, and got it sold for $24.89 plus shipping. So, a lot of carrying costs on that one. All right. And then number 17 is another piece of clothing. Are these Red Route motorcycle jeans. I had these in one of my very first videos. I picked these up at a garage sale for $5. They're a very heavy duty jean. They have knee pad. I think you can do thigh inserts as well, but they have knee inserts in them that are Kevlar. These, because they've been used, the knee inserts are broken into several pieces, not one solid piece anymore, which I called out in the description. There's no way to picture that exactly, but I called it out in the description that the knee pad is broken into several pieces in each knee. So Somebody may just cut them out and just use them for the jeans themselves, because they are very like rugged and tough, and it's a heavy duty pair of jeans. And if I remember right, these are a European brand, so they're not a US brand. But yeah, picked them up for $5, sold them for $44.89 plus shipping. And that's just like awesome. That was an awesome way. These I sold at like 1:30 this morning. Somebody bought them, but awesome way to end the weekend. And that is all 17 items that sold over the weekend. Again, a 58% jump in items sold from just averaging the past. So if I look at the past 4 weeks, sold 10.75 items per week. This past weekend, 17 items, which is a 17% or a 58% jump in sales on unit sales. And the dollar sales are up as well. So it is a fantastic weekend. I'm pushing more items out this week. I'm going to spend a good part of today just preparing items to take pictures the rest of the week. So I'm going to get all prepped and staged, ready to go. No pictures today, but Tuesday through Friday, it's just going to be picture mania. So can't wait to see what happens throughout this week and next weekend. I really appreciate you sticking with me. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those down in the comment section down below, and I'll make sure and I get back to you. And until next time, have a great day.